listen, when it comes to Claressa, I'm starting to get a little soft spot for her. I really am. I really feel sorry for her. The more
Y'all, brace yourselves, because what I'm about to reveal just obliterated one of the wildest celebrity fairy tales the internet ever believed. This isn't gossip. This isn't speculation. This is the exact moment a secret triangle imploded in front of the world, and one woman walked away holding every card. For months, Claressa Shields proudly announced she had taken another woman's husband. My man, she repeated, again and again. On lives, in captions, in interviews. She paraded him, claimed him, showed him off, built an entire fantasy around a married man, and the internet treated it like a binge-worthy series. But tonight, that fantasy is officially buried. Because according to explosive new claims, Tasha K has now stepped forward and confirmed what social media only dared whisper behind closed doors. Papoose is finished. Claressa is erased. And Remy quietly back on top. Insiders say the same man Claressa called my future secretly packed his life into a suitcase, boarded a flight back to New York, and sprinted straight into his wife's arms. No farewell, no closure, no warning, just disappearance. Blocked calls. A public unraveling broadcast to millions. And here's where the story turns unsettling. They claim Claressa wasn't just dating him, she was mirroring his wife. Same clothes, same jewelry, same vacations, even the same poses. Fans are calling it fixation, delusion, predator energy. And when she allegedly tattooed a married man's name onto her skin, the internet erupted. While Claressa unraveled, Remy remained unmoved, silent, composed, untouchable. Family holidays, rings still shining, photos exploding online, same home, same husband. And now the final revelation? Tasha K is allegedly exposing that Claressa was never the priority, never the partner, never the plan. Just a temporary distraction, while the real marriage quietly stitched itself back together in private. This isn't sadness. This is disgrace. This is obsession colliding with truth. This is a dream.
Apparently, Claressa spent Christmas alone in the Louis Vuitton store, racking up about $30,000.
What began as a fearless love story slowly mutated into one of the most brutal public implosions the internet has seen in years. For months, Claressa Shields moved through social media with unshakable confidence. In her world, there was no secrecy, no hiding, no guilt, no shame. She believed she wasn't crossing a line. She believed she was victorious. Victorious over another woman. Victorious in attention. Victorious in claiming a married man. Every live stream, every caption, every interview whispered the same message, soft, but undeniable. This is mine. And the world watched, not calmly, not respectfully, but hungrily, because this wasn't just romance. This was a married man. A legendary wife. And a third woman building a fairy tale in front of millions. At first, the audience treated it like entertainment. A chaotic triangle. A celebrity drama. Something to joke about, debate over, then scroll away from. But slowly, the atmosphere changed, because what once looked like confidence started to resemble fixation. Claressa wasn't simply claiming a man. She was staging possession. Every appearance grew louder. Every post grew sharper. Every caption felt like a warning shot, and behind the scenes, something far more dangerous was taking shape. According to whispers now spreading online, the relationship Claressa thought was unbreakable was never secure at all. While she proudly announced she had taken another woman's husband, insiders say the marriage she believed had ended never truly collapsed, and the woman she thought she had defeated never surrendered control. Because while Claressa constructed a fantasy in public, Remy was quietly repairing a marriage behind closed doors, and no one understood the truth better than the woman who would soon step forward and shatter the illusion completely. Tasha K. By the time Tasha K. entered the storyline, the cracks were already visible. Fans had begun spotting contradictions, details that didn't align, absences that felt deliberate, questions that refused to disappear. Why was Claressa always alone on holidays? Why did Papoose vanish for days without explanation? Why did every public moment feel rehearsed? And most unsettling of all, why did this connection always resemble a performance instead of a real relationship? Then came the live stream, the quiet turning point, the moment that subtly rewrote the entire story.
I'm sorry for Claressa when she was in there blowing a bag, $30,000, and then she had to take the bag to Papoose. And
that one sentence rewrote the entire storyline, because according to Tasha K., the luxury Claressa had been parading online was never coming from AMAN.it, was coming from herself. The designer purses, the flashy gifts, The glamorous surprises revealed on camera. Tasha K alleged that Claressa was purchasing her own luxury items, then passing them to Papoose, so he could present them back to her on livestream, manufacturing the illusion that he was spoiling her. Not romance. Not devotion. A production. Scripted affection. Artificial intimacy. And in a single moment, the narrative shifted. This was no longer about taking a husband. This was about funding your own fairy tale. Fans immediately rewound footage. Old clips resurfaced. Screenshots reappeared. Moments once labeled cute now looked calculated. The exaggerated reactions. The delayed smiles. The uncomfortable pauses. And then the most dangerous question of all began creeping through comment sections and private messages. What if Claressa wasn't the one being chosen? What if she was the one being exploited? Because according to the same claims, the man she believed she had secured wasn't just emotionally distant. He was financially dependent and allegedly surviving off women long before her. But Tasha K didn't stop there. She went deeper, much deeper. Sources began whispering that this wasn't his first recycled romance. Not the first time gifts were repackaged. Not the first time jewelry was reused. Not the first time items bought by women were presented as proof of loyalty. And slowly, a disturbing pattern emerged. A married man, multiple women, and a lifestyle financed by whoever believed in him hardest. And Claressa, according to these claims, she wasn't special. She was simply the newest chapter. Meanwhile, while Claressa curated love online, reality was moving in the opposite direction. Because behind closed doors, something far more devastating was unfolding. The marriage everyone assumed had ended was quietly rebuilding itself. No announcements. No statements. No press tours, just movement, and the first warning sign, a plane ticket. Sources claim Papoose suddenly packed his life, booked a flight to New York, and vanished. No farewell posts. No romantic captions. No explanations, only absence. Claressa kept posting, kept smiling, kept projecting certainty, but her energy began to fracture, barely noticeable at first, then undeniable. Missed calls, ignored messages, public reassurance that sounded rehearsed. And then, the internet caught something chilling. Claressa was no longer celebrating, she was pursuing, and that's when the obsession allegations detonated. Fans began assembling evidence. Side-by-side photos, duplicated outfits, matching poses, identical jewelry, same boots, same hairstyles, same captions, same destinations. People stopped calling it coincidence. They called it imitation, fixation, and in darker corners of social media, stalking behavior. Because Claressa didn't just admire Remy Ma, according to speculation. She was analyzing her, studying her, mimicking her, erasing herself to become her. Then came the tattoo, the moment that permanently altered public opinion. A married man's name, engraved in flesh. While he was still legally bound to another woman, the reaction was instant. Shock, ridicule, alarm. Fans didn't see passion. They saw panic. They didn't see commitment. They saw delusion, and the contrast was merciless. Because while Claressa carved a man's name into her body for someone who refused to publicly claim her, that same man already bore his wife's name on his skin. Remy Ma. Permanent. Legal. History. And suddenly, Claressa didn't look chosen. She looked imprisoned inside a fantasy she created, and could no longer escape. By the time the Detroit appearances made headlines, the breakdown was impossible to conceal. Courtside sightings, security escorts, overstaged entrances, rigid smiles. Claressa was everywhere, but Papoose, gone, and Remy Ma, unbothered, silent, untouched. Family photos emerged. Holiday reunions, matching rings, same house, same family, same husband. And then, the final confirmation began quietly circulating.
Now, this ain't the first time broke Papoose, because Remy told us he was broke. Remember, she was paying all the bills, buying all the chains and everything. He's the prize in the relationship. He doesn't work. He's been a aspiring rapper since before. And I don't even know.
And in that instant, the entire storyline disintegrated. This was never a fairy tale. This was never a conquest. This was never Claressa triumphing. According to these claims, she was financing the illusion, acting out the romance, guarding the fantasy, while the real marriage was quietly stitching itself back together in silence. And the most devastating realization of all? Claressa wasn't losing a man. She was losing control. In public.in emotion.in money. Because while she believed she was rising into the role of the main woman, the real wife was never replaced, never removed, never conquered. And as part 1 comes to a close, one truth now echoes through every corner of the story. This was never a love triangle. This was a distraction. And in the next part, we reveal how the reunion was engineered, who controlled the silence, and why Claressa's collapse was never random. It wasn't unfortunate. It was unavoidable. By the time the internet finally sensed something was off, the damage was already irreversible. Claressa Shields was no longer glowing, no longer celebrating, no longer convincing. The same woman who once stood online proclaiming victory now looked unsettled. Her live streams stretched longer. Her captions turned defensive. Her energy uneasy. And beneath that carefully edited confidence, a dangerous truth was quietly taking shape. Because according to multiple sources, the man Claressa believed she was building a future with had already returned to his past. Silently, deliberately, without warning. While Claressa continued staging romance for the camera, Papoose had already begun retreating. Calls left unanswered. Messages left unread. Trips suddenly cancelled. And the clearest sign of all? Holidays. Because when the holidays arrived, Claressa was alone. Luxury boutiques, designer purchases, empty spaces, and Papoose? With his wife, with his children, with his family. And that's when the internet's tone shifted from curiosity to concern. Because this wasn't distance. This was disappearance. But the most brutal part? Claressa didn't see it yet. She was still defending him, still claiming him, still shielding a man who had already emotionally vanished. And that's when Tasha K re-entered the story, not with comfort, but with a warning.
Guys, he's playing you, Rissa.
Those 4 words landed like a silent detonation, not shouted, not theatrical, but lethal. He's playing you. Because in that moment, Tasha K wasn't insulting Claressa. She was unveiling the truth, and what followed became the most humiliating exposure of the entire saga. According to claims now spreading online, Claressa wasn't just emotionally invested. She was financially sustaining the relationship, luxury shopping, designer luggage, high-priced gifts, not from him, from her. But the internet didn't grasp the full betrayal until one detail surfaced that obliterated everything. A receipt. A Louis Vuitton receipt, and in a single screenshot, the entire fantasy disintegrated. Sources allege Claressa had gone shopping by herself, purchased an expensive duffel bag with her own money, posted the receipt publicly, then handed that same bag to Papoose, so he could present it back to her on livestream as proof of his affection, not love. Not generosity. A performance. A staged moment. A manufactured romance. And the second that detail leaked, the narrative reversed instantly, because Claressa wasn't being cherished. She was financing her own illusion.
It's like, did she just give him the gift to give to her to act like the things that we're telling her that he ain't got no money? He is gifting you his jewelry. He is gifting you your stuff that you're buying.
That sentence exploded across the internet like a delayed bomb. Clips were replayed, screenshots spread, fans dissected videos frame by frame. And suddenly, every gasp looked scripted, every thank you sounded hollow, every gift exchange, staged. The woman who once bragged she had taken a husband had been purchasing her own evidence of love. And the man she defended with her entire soul? Allegedly surviving off her money while rebuilding a marriage somewhere else. But the humiliation didn't end there. Because as Claressa unraveled, the internet noticed something far more unsettling. She wasn't only losing a man, she was losing herself. Fans began studying her movements with clinical focus. The clothing, the angles, the captions, the jewelry, the destinations. And then, the comparisons. Side-by-side images of Claressa and Remy flooded timelines. Matching boots, matching coats, matching hairstyles, even matching expressions. And slowly, the narrative shifted from affair to imitation, from confidence to fixation, from romance to psychological breakdown. Because Claressa wasn't just pursuing a man anymore. She was pursuing a woman, trying to replace her, trying to become her, trying to overwrite a marriage that never truly ended. And then came the tattoo. The moment that permanently altered everything. A married man's name.
And like I said, Papoose and Remy spent time together on Christmas. I got pictures of them together. I ain't even dropped those yet.
That sentence ended everything. Not speculation. Not possibility. Evidence. Christmas. Family. Together. While Claressa was shopping alone. Spending her own money. Posting her own fantasies. The man she believed was building a future with her was already back where he belonged. With his wife. With his child. With his family. And suddenly, the entire timeline became clear. According to claims, the reunion was never impulsive. It was calculated, quiet, Strategic. Because Papoose didn't confront Claressa. He didn't explain himself. He didn't announce anything. He simply withdrew. And reappeared. In Remy Ma's life. And the most devastating part? Claressa found out the same way the internet did. Through silence. Through absence. Through other people's photos. And that's when the meltdown truly began. Not on camera. Not in interviews. But in behavior. Claressa's energy changed. Her posts became erratic. Her captions defensive. Her lives emotional. Fans noticed tears behind filters. Anger behind smiles. Desperation behind confidence. Because this wasn't heartbreak. This was humiliation. And then, the final warning dropped. Not as gossip. Not as opinion. As prophecy.
Don't have it either because he finna burn you down the same way he done burnt.
Those words now echo through this entire story. Because according to insiders, Claressa wasn't the first woman to fund him. She wasn't the first to protect him. She wasn't the first to believe in him. She was simply the loudest. The most visible. The most public. And therefore, the most destroyed. Behind the scenes, sources say Remy Ma never panicked. Never rushed. Never fought publicly. She didn't compete. She didn't copy. She didn't perform. She waited. And while Claressa exhausted herself chasing attention, Remy quietly reclaimed her marriage. One holiday at a time. One family dinner at a time. One private conversation at a time. Until eventually, the man returned. Fully. Silently. Permanently. And here's where the story becomes psychologically devastating. Because Claressa didn't just lose a relationship. She lost an identity. For months, she had reshaped her public image around one man. My future, my forever. Every post, every interview, every appearance, all centered around proving she had won. But when that fantasy collapsed, so did the version of herself she had created. And the internet watched it happen in real time. Fans began noticing something chilling. Claressa stopped copying Remy. She started chasing ghosts. Old outfits. Old captions. Old memories. As if recreating the past might somehow restore the future. But the truth was merciless. The reunion was done. The marriage repaired. The triangle dissolved. And Claressa? Left holding tattoos, receipts, screenshots. And a story no one admired anymore. Meanwhile, Remy Ma never said a word. No interviews. No statements. No victory laps. Just life. Family photos. Holiday dinners. Wedding rings still shining. The same house. The same man. The same marriage. And in that silence, she delivered the most brutal message of all. I never left. The internet quickly crowned a winner. And it wasn't the loudest voice. It wasn't the boldest caption. It wasn't the woman who tattooed a married man's name on her skin. It was the woman who waited. And got everything back. As Claressa's meltdown intensified, fans stopped calling her confident. They called her tragic. They stopped calling her bold. They called her broken. And the most painful realization slowly spread across comment sections. Claressa didn't lose because she loved too hard. She lost because she believed in illusion. Funded it. Defended it. And destroyed herself trying to protect it. And Papoose? According to the same claims, he walked away untouched. No reputation damage. No accountability. No consequences. He returned to his marriage. To stability. To security. Leaving behind chaos. And a woman publicly unraveling. As this story closes, one truth stands above everything else. This was never about love. It was about control, power, ego, and silence. Claressa chased attention. Remy mastered patience. Papoose exploited both. And in the end, the loudest woman lost. The quietest woman won. And the man simply walked back into the life he never truly abandoned. Because in celebrity scandals, the real winners are never the ones trending. They're the ones who never had to explain anything at all. And now, this is where the story stops being gossip and becomes a warning. Because what you just witnessed was not a breakup. It was the public execution of a fantasy. A woman built a future around a married man. She paid for it. She protected it. She carved it into her skin. And when reality finally arrived, it didn't knock. It erased her. Claressa didn't fall because she wasn't enough. She fell because she trusted a man who never planned to leave his wife. She fell because she believed attention instead of truth. She fell because obsession blinded her to the oldest rule in celebrity history. If he can betray his wife for you, he will abandon you for peace. And while Claressa unraveled in front of the world, Remy Ma never argued, never pleaded, never competed. She waited. And patience quietly reclaimed everything. A marriage, a family, a man, a legacy. Meanwhile, Claressa was left holding receipts, screenshots, tattoos, and humiliation, evidence of a relationship that only lived in her imagination. And the coldest part of this entire saga? The man walked away untouched. No backlash.no consequences.no confession. Just another woman emotionally shattered, while he returned to comfort, security, and silence. So before you call this drama, understand what you just witnessed. This is what betrayal looks like when it moves slowly. This is what manipulation looks like when it smiles. This is what obsession looks like when it ends in public collapse. And now I want to hear from you. Was Claressa ever a victim? Or was she an accomplice in her own destruction? Did Papoose manipulate both sides? Or did everyone receive exactly what they earned? And is Remy Ma the true winner? Or simply the quiet survivor of a dangerous game? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Because this story is far from finished. More receipts are coming, more names are being whispered, and the next chapter may be darker than anything you've seen so far.